We all know Wayde van Niekerk, right? The South African who broke world records at the Rio Olympics back in 2016. But what you probably don't know, and we hope you do, is that his coach, Tannie Ans, is proudly Namibian. Born in Otjiwarongo, Tannie Ans has been with Wayde for quite some time, and she is here in studio with us to share how she helped him along his journey and how she got into sports, and also what drives her in her coaching. Welcome, Tannie Ans.
Thank you so much.
It is so good to have you here. I'm actually very excited. I'm a huge fan. Just the fact that you helped Wayde break those records is phenomenal, and it's great to be in your presence. I would like to start with Wayde's story. How did you meet him? When did that relationship begin?
End of 2012, October 2012, Wayde approached me asking to join my training group. So I was very excited, but also in a very big way. I was worried because at the time Wayde already struggled with serious injuries for the previous 2 years, and because of that, mentally he was also very down. He knew that he could do so much better, but because of the injuries which held him back, it was frustration, and especially for a sprinter. A sprinter is a very, very sensitive, in a way, delicate person. It's like an artist, going through emotions and things like that. How will I manage this exceptional, good and talented athlete? To be able to coach him, but also to manage his injuries and get him through, the whole preparation and training and so on. I decided with Wayde and his parents that I will take him off the 100 and the 200. We needed, that really explosive speed. And his body at the time wasn't strong enough to handle that. And I think at the time that was the reason why he was picking up these hamstring problems all the time. We decided to take him off and for the time being concentrate on the 400 meters. We decided that we will work through 2013, and our main goal was to get him through every season without serious injuries, so that we could start and be able to start every new season on a stronger foundation. Yes. Every year we were able to start stronger, and so we went into 2015, and then we won the World Champs in Beijing in 43.48. We discussed it, and we had to put new goals and new times, and we also knew that we not only have to work for the gold medal, but we have to work for the record and better than that record of Michael Johnson. I coach my athletes that the distance is the same, and you have to run your own race, and you have to concentrate on what you have to do, and don't allow your opposition to get into your head and run their race instead of your own. From time to time, the hamstring problem and the lower back problem popped up. So some days we could work, but the next day he didn't even be able to warm up properly. But we went to Rio, and about 10 days before Rio, the hamstring and the lower back really gave us a lot of a lot of worries and a lot of problems.
Right as you're about to enter towards the last phase of your goal.
That was about 10 days before his heats. He came second in the semi-final, but what really concerned me was the immense pressure and expectations of family, friends, fans, the country, and this hamstring problem, which really gave him a lot of pain and discomfort.
And I'm sure it worried him immensely in the back of his head.
Mentally, it took a lot out of him. I was waiting for him at the warm-up track, and when he arrived, I could see, this boy is so stressed. And we went to the tent, they went and sat down on the end of the physio bed, and the next moment he burst into tears. I went to him and I just put my arms around him and I allowed him to get it out. And then when he started, calming down, I said to him, okay, Wayde, now we have to do what we came here for. So you have to start warming up. The physio came and the physio strapped his leg. We started warming up, and when the final call room announcement was made, we walked to the call room, and at the door we stopped, and I hugged him, and something which I never do. I talked to him then. I said to him, Wayde, you're in line 8. It's your race. Don't allow anybody to dictate to you. You dictate out of line 8. But when you went through the 200 meters, I knew nobody will catch you. I have a certain way of coaching my athletes, how they should run the last 120 meters in a 400. Wayde maintained his running style, and he did exactly what we were working on. And I mean, the rest is history.
As he made history. That's incredible. I love that, Tannie Ans. My next question is, how did you get into coaching? What is that story? Tannie Ans, you're giving me such a beautiful smile. I can't wait to hear this one.
I started with my own children. When my daughter was very little, I could see that there is some potential. And when she went to school, at the time there wasn't that kind of coaching or opportunities or facilities, and it really frustrated me. So I wrote to the then SAAU, the South African Amateur Athletics Union in Pretoria. I didn't even have an address. I just wrote the SAAU Pretoria, and I requested them to send me some information and coaching material. And they sent me a little book. I still have that book. Yeah. And that's how I started. I started with my own children. At the time also, there was an article in the Vonk about Emile Rousseau. And Emile was the first athlete in South Africa who did the Fosbury flop high jump. And there was quite a big article about, and also a photo of Emil jumping the Fosbury. And that photo really fascinated my boy. At the time, he wasn't even in school. And then he started using my rake and my broom with a piece of wool, and he started doing high jump. And then he broke his arm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he was jumping on the dirt, you know. Yeah, and that's how I started. But since childhood, athletics or sport in general, I love sport. I really love it. I love soccer. I love to watch soccer. I love to watch athletics and tennis and soccer. And as I said, I really love athletics or sport in general.
Why do you like Liverpool?
To be very honest, Wayde influenced me.
Well done, Wayde.
Because he is a very, very big Liverpool fan. And he told me, or he suggests that if Liverpool won the competition, then I will rethink my Manchester United, because I'm a Manchester United fan. In a way, I have to support him with his Liverpool team and Klopp.
So what is your number one golden rule that you tell all your athletes? If we could give that secret away.
No, I don't think it's a secret. Self-discipline, dedication, hard work.
Self-discipline, dedication, hard work.
And also to guide them, or to try and guide them and love them as my children. I mean, each and every athlete in my training group is my child. That person has a dream and a goal. The moment when he approaches me to help him, I become part of that dream and that goal. And that makes us a team and a unit. Be prepared to sacrifice. An athlete, a top athlete, have to sacrifice a lot. You have to watch out for your sleep. You have to have enough rest. You have to sacrifice your social life.
That might also then leak into or stream into some relationships.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Especially relationships. I mean, I work with students. And I have to know my athlete in a way when he arrives at training session. I have to be able to read his face and to see that there's something wrong. As we were talking now, had problems with his or her partner. You have to adjust and you have to understand, and you have to treat him that day or for the next 2 or 3 days. You have to treat him in another way.
Can we perhaps go back to the beginning?
Yes.
Tannie Ans, I'd like to know a little bit more on your family history. Since you are Namibian born and that Namibian pride runs through your veins, how Tannie Ans was born in Namibia, but how did you end up in South Africa? Please take us through that journey.
My ancestors all come from Angola. They came to Southwest Africa in 1928. My father was potgieter, and my mother's family, or my mother was an opperman. They moved from the old Transvaal to Angola, and then they were many years in Angola, and then they came back to Southwest Africa in 1928, yes. When they arrived, most of those people were staying in the Gubabes area and district, and that is where I'm coming from.
How it all started,
yes,
from your lineage. So then you're actually more African in your blood, because then your family comes from Angola. You were born in Namibia, but then you left a legacy in South Africa. So proudly African.
I had a lot of serious health problems. It went on for quite a few years. And then when my late husband retired in 1990, because we already had our retiring home in Walvis Bay in Meersig, but because of that reason, we sold the house and we had to move to Bloemfontein. And when we moved back to Namibia, at the time Southwest Africa, we moved back to Otjiwarongo. Okay. And then after a few years, my husband was moved to headquarters in Windhoek, and we were in Windhoek for about 16 years. And during that time, I really went on with coaching. So many parents coach their children, their own children. But what happened was that when those children moved to South Africa, the parents stopped coaching. But when my children went to university, I went on. Then I really had such wonderful athletes, talented people. I remember in 1988, at the time we were allowed to participate in the South African national championships. Out of my training group, we came back from SA champs with 11 medals. That was one of the most wonderful seasons I will remember. I don't think it ever happened that two athletes out of the same training group, the same province, achieved what Ans Botha and Tia Jansen van Vuren achieved that year. They ran the 100-meter final, and they had to wait at the finishing line for the photo finish to see who was the gold medalist. And they were both of them were barefoot. They didn't run with spikes. Yes. I still, at home, I still have paper clips, you know, and at the time you also we also had a magazine, SA Athlete or SA Athlete, and the back page, the whole of the back page was a black and white photo of Igna and Tia waiting for the results for the.
As a leader yourself, what message do you think, or what message do you want to give to our young African leaders who are now stepping up onto that plate to lead the rest of the country, but they still need fundamental values? What would you say to them?
I would say, for myself, one of the most important things is respect. Self-respect, dedication, hard work. You have to love, you have to have that passion, you have to have that enthusiasm to do what you do and to enjoy it. I mean, if you don't enjoy what you're doing,
then what's the point?
There's no progress, and I mean, then you will do more damage to a person or to your athlete or I mean the people around you. That is really so important to me, to have respect for other people. If you have respect, you have self-respect. You have respect for other people's belongings. You will have respect for God. You will have respect for his nature, his creation. So that is, for myself, as I said, one of the most important things.
I don't think I should ask you. I wanted to ask, do you have any plans on slowing down? But after our conversation now, it doesn't sound like you plan on slowing down anytime soon, because I believe there are athletes in Africa that need your guidance, that need your mentorship. So instead, I would like to know, what are your future plans? You did mention that you are currently training with Wayde for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. What are your future plans? What can we expect from the great Tannie Ans?
Well, as I mentioned, we achieved a lot in the past years, but that was then. You have to put it behind you, and you have to have new goals and new dreams, and you have to work towards that. Wayde and I have new times, new goals, new dreams. For the next 2 years at least, we have to focus on that, and we have to work very hard to achieve what we want to achieve. After Rio, Wayde wanted to try to double at London World Champs, which he did. He defended his 400 title, and then he went to the 200. Now they compare him with Michael Johnson, who did the 400 gold as well as the 200 gold. But you have to remember, a 400 meters is a speed endurance, and the 200 meter is speed. What Michael achieved, he did the 3 400 meters, the heat, the semi and the final. And then he had a resting day. And then he did the 200 heat, semi and final. Wayde didn't
Rest at all.
No, he didn't have that opportunity to have a resting day. It was all mixed up, because he ran the heat in the 400, then he ran the semi in the 400. Then he had to run the 200 heat. Then he had to run the 400 final, and then he had to run the 200 semi and then the final. So
we should be comparing Wayde to Wayde.
Yeah, but you know what really makes it difficult? Really difficult is when you do a speed endurance, like he did for the first 2 races. It's so difficult to change to a speed, and then back to a speed endurance, and then back again to speed.
And it's also a psychological.
Oh yes, very much so, very much so. And the weather conditions was crazy. It was awful. It was raining. It was so cold. And also what happened in London was that they had to take off their tracksuits in the call room, in the final call room. And they took, the officials took them out to the track. And then they had to wait behind the billboards, because the organizers decided, but now they're going to do a medal presentation. And these athletes had to stand and wait in rain and wind and cold. Afterwards, Wayde and I talked about it, and we discussed it. And he told me, he said to me, Tannie, I was so cold. For the first 150 meters, I couldn't feel my legs. Because you have to remember that little running vest is wet. Now they run in that cold. The ski pants is wet. They have to run in the cold, and the wind makes it even more cold. So, and Then you have to be very, very careful for cramps, because you're cold, you're stiff, and that's what it really made it so difficult to achieve what he really wanted to achieve. But we were so excited and so happy about the silver, which, I mean, it's still a double.
It's still a double.
It's 6 days, consecutive days,
non-stop,
which he had to run each and every day a top race.
You know, that is phenomenal, especially with the challenges that he faced
Yeah,
throughout.
yeah,
That is
yeah.
amazing.
So that is only a little background about London, just to explain, you know, the circumstances around that Michael Johnson's achievement and what Wayde achieved. Yes, yes.
Sometimes it's not always what it seems. I would like to know, what role does sport play in unifying people?
I had the privilege to work with a guy, Nico van der Merwe, and Nico was the sport organizer or head of sport at Rossing Uranium. I had the opportunity and also a privilege to have worked with people like Lucky Governor, Abraham Swabeb. The opportunity to work with these people and to really be in a position to know them and to work with them teach me such a lot. And I have to tell you, when Wayde won the 400 in Beijing, there was such a optimistic and positive mind change in the whole of South Africa when we came back and we had to drive through the streets in an open bus. It was all kinds of people, not only white people, not only black people. It was such a vibe, such a positive vibe. I was off my feet. I was hanging between people because they just wanted to touch you, and somebody grabbed you from the back and give you a hug, and when you look, it was a black lady or a black man. It really created this very, very positive and united vibe and atmosphere. It was incredible. It really makes you feel that not only you achieved something like the gold medal and the world record, but by doing that, you created this very positive and wonderful, united South Africa.
That was Tannie Ans with us here in studio for In the Spotlight. For more amazing, inspiring individuals, make sure that you stay tuned with us. From me, Odile Gertze, this was another Gondwana collection in the Spotlight.